Hey, today we're going to talk about how to get that perfect clean cut in troubleshooting when your cut and your reel to bed knife isn't perfect. We're going to break this into two factors, mechanical and then your grass. So here we've got 3 reels set up because I think it's important for you to be able to visualize how your reel should be set up to your bed knife while you're out on the yard. To the left here, I've got a reel that's set up too loose. Right here in the middle, we have a reel set up too tight. And on the far end, we've got the reel set up just right. And you'll notice a significant difference when we let go of the lever to spin the reel, how they come to a stop once we release. One of the things you may have experienced like I did earlier this summer is I started mowing and my reel to bed knife contact was absolutely perfect. First 2,000 feet, I had a great cut. And then I started to notice as I kept going along, my cut was getting a little bit worse. So first thing I immediately thought of is to make sure that my reel cartridge and the bed knife tensioners were tight. So in comparison between these two, you can notice obviously that when I push these washers and mess with them, they're not moving at all. This is very well tightened. This middle adjustment is going to hold once you make the setting. But then when you look at this side, this particular one is very loose. And that means when I make my reel adjustment here at the front to tighten it to my reel to bed knife, over time, it's not going to hold. So what I need to do is take an 8mm wrench and go ahead and tighten the back of these because that's what's going to hold my adjustment in place. Now I'm going to tighten the second nut, which will actually hold it in place. So guys, I'm going to make this a little easier. Because I don't have this reel in a mower, I'm going to use a cheat sheet. What this is a reel cartridge holder. It's perfect when you're trying to adjust your reel outside of your mower. The way it works is you set it behind the reel cartridge, put your cartridge on its spikes, and it sits right there. Now, I can adjust the reel perfectly and easily with both my hands free. So what I like to do when I have the reel into the reel holder is I like to spin it with my hand. And right now I have 0 contact. So I'm going to tighten ever so slightly until I can feel contact with my hand. And now I feel a lot of contact right here on this left side. So I want to bring it a little bit tighter on the right, the side closest to you, so I can get a nice balanced contact. Right there I can feel and hear as I rotate the reel where the contact is because it always starts here with every blade and works across. So as I rotate forward like a reel, I feel it coming all the way across to the other side. Y'all have seen how I've been slowly adjusting each of the adjustments on the back of this Edwin 55 reel cartridge. I feel like I've got a good even contact from one side to the other for the reel to the bed knife. The final step is for me to use a business card. I'd like to use a business card when I test my reel to bed knife, especially when it's not in the mower. When my cartridge is in the mower, I really like to just test it by mowing the yard and adjusting it on the fly. If I recognize one side isn't cutting as good as the other side, I go ahead and make the tweak by just tightening that adjustment. So let's check it out. Left side, cutting good. Middle, cutting good. Right side, cutting good. That's what we're looking for. Now we'll get this cartridge into the mower and start mowing, and this should be in a great place for many weeks, heck, even months to go. Another area to inspect when you're checking to see why your reel won't adjust perfectly, reel to bed knife, is just make sure these 3 screws on the bottom of your reel on each side are in tight and in place. So after you've done your spin test on the yard and you realize it seems like the bed knife to reel is really in a good place, not too tight, not too loose, next thing you want to do if you're not getting a great cut is pull the cartridge out of your mower and inspect it for any damage on the reel as well as the bed knife. And as I look down this reel and bed knife, I recognize immediately that there's a big chunk here missing on that reel, like I hit maybe a stone or a piece of curb, and it correlates perfectly with my bed knife. And that all lines up with where I'm having a hard time cutting grass. Now I really have two options at this point. First thing I want to try to do is get a file and see if I can smooth out both the bed knife as well as the reel blade and see if I can do it where they don't make contact. If they don't, unfortunately I'm going to send it back to the shop to get a spin grind and get these synced right back up in line. So now that we've covered the mechanical factors, such as making sure the reel to bed knife have a good constant contact, making sure the bolts, the adjustment arms on the back of the reel cartridge are all tightened in a good place, and ensure there's no damage to your reel or bed knife. The other thing we have to consider is what we call the grass factor. It's critical to understand what a reel mower can and cannot do. They perform best when you are topping your grass. And what that means is you should be able to mow your grass without a grass catcher and not be able to see the grass on top of your lawn after your mow. If you feel the need to use the grass catcher to collect your clippings because they'll visibly be seen by people driving by or passing by, odds are you're not cutting often enough, and truly, that's not what a reel mower is designed to do. So in order to give you this best chance to give you your best lawn, make sure you're only topping your grass and cutting 1/4 of an inch and absolutely never more than 1/2 an inch of grass off at a time. So in the end, it's critical to have your reel to bed knife set correctly. If it's too loose, like the first example, your grass is going to jam in between the reel and the bed knife and it's going to come to a screeching halt. If it's too tight, you're going to burn through belts prematurely and you're constantly going to be replacing them. But when it's just right, you get that perfect cut. You let go of the lever that controls the reel and it comes to a nice, smooth stop. Not an immediate stop, not a forever rolling reel. This is what you need, and when you have it like this, total game changer.